Hello everybody, welcome to another Versus Video Deck Tech. I am Chris VanMeter, along here with
Chris VanMeter.
Braun-Duin.
Braun-Duin.
Yep. As Osip would say.
Yeah.
But here we have the black-white mid-range deck that placed 6th in the first StarCityGames.com Standard Open of the new format here in Nashville this last weekend. And it's kind of reminiscent to the black-white decks that started to pop up there towards the end of the previous format, where we do have the Nightveil Spectre poured over from the Mono Black Devotion. But this deck has a couple of unique options as far as in the creatures that it's playing.
Indeed, yes.
Unique is a very good word for it.
Yeah.
So we do have a Blood Baron of Vizkopa, which was, became very popular towards the end of the last standard format, because Mono Black Devotion was just basically dominating everything.
Yep.
But here we also have Alms Beast.
This card is quite the beast.
It is quite the beast. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with Alms Beast, I believe it was one of the promos.
No.
It wasn't? Oh, the other one was the
Treasury
promo. Treasury.
Throw.
Aren't they just the same card?
No. One's a 4/4 for 6, one's a 6/6 for 4. So
just mixing it up.
Yep.
Just mixing it up. So this is it's a 6/6 for 4 that creatures that block it or are blocked by it will gain lifelink.
Correct.
So that's usually not going to be relevant. It's going to be bigger than anything else. So eventually it just basically becomes the Abyss. They just have to block it every turn or they're going to die. But the control decks normally aren't going to have blockers for it. So it's just a 6/6 for 4 that's going to get to attack every turn. So,
yeah.
I feel like stat-wise it's similar to Desecration Demon. But it's just your opponent can't tap it down every turn.
Right. So yeah, it plays a similar role to Demon. I think it's a little bit worse than Demon, but it definitely has upsides. For one, you can always guarantee that you can block with it. Like, you don't have to worry about it getting tapped down. Yeah. So yeah, you're going to be able to block with Alms Beast. Offensively, it's very similar to Demon, where your opponent can basically sacrifice a creature to not let you attack with it. In other words, they can chump block with one of their creatures, which is basically the same as using that creature to tap down a Demon. Where the difference is they gain a little bit of life each time they do it. That's why I think Demon's a little bit better. Yeah. But overall, like, the power level isn't that big of a difference.
Well, I'm definitely excited to see how Alms Beast matches up here. But again, we do have Nightveil Spectre, and we still have Pack Rat. So a lot of people thought that because of Bile-Blight being printed, one of the new Theros standouts, that Pack Rat was going to kind of fall off in popularity. But we saw that all of the black-white mid-range decks and Black Devotion decks were still just jamming their Pack Rats and trying to kill their opponents. Do you think that is, people aren't respecting the card, or is Pack Rat just that big of a threat regardless that you might as well just play it?
I think Pack Rat is still that good. And also, like, Bile-Blight certainly saw an amount of play, but, like, there's still plenty of decks that don't have it. And your opponent might not have it in their hand, or if they do, you might see it with the Thoughtseize and know to play around it. And, like, even if your Pack Rats get Bile-Blighted, a lot of times, like, they've dealt enough damage prior to that point to where a lot of times, like, the mirror match isn't just about card advantage. It's also about, like, how much damage you deal to your opponent because of how fast Grey Merchant can kill. Yep. So there's still upsides to having Pack Rat despite Bile-Blight.
I agree. I think that a lot of times, rather than just being all in on Pack Rat, you're just, like, attacking with a couple 4/4s or a handful of 3/3s. Yeah. And then you just have to be aware that Bile-Blight is still in the deck. Yeah. But it basically makes it that Pack Rat isn't just as big of a powerhouse in the mirror on the play as it was before. Like, if you just Pack Rat on 2, if they don't kill it, they're basically just going to lose the game. Now they have 3 turns to draw into a Bile-Blight. Right.
And it might be worth playing Pack Rat a lot like you do against a control deck where you attack for 1, and then play Underworld Connections, and then next turn, you attack for 1 again, use your connections. Maybe at the end of their turn, if they tap out, you make another rat. Yeah. And then you can, like, untap, make a rat, play a Mutavault. Now they can't Bile-Blight your guys anymore or whatever. So I think there's definitely room to still use Pack Rat powerfully, but you're not, like, as all in on it as you were before.
We also have 4 Thoughtseize, which is just a good Magic card. I mean, I don't see any reason to be playing these colors and not be playing Thoughtseize. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of people that actually complain about the power level of the card, that a lot of games are just lost because your opponent takes the best card out of your hand and you just never get to enact your game plan.
Yeah, like, they can also take the second best card out of your hand and trap you into using the best card suboptimally. So that's another.
That's
another,
pretty tricky.
Yeah.
Pretty tricky.
Yep.
We also have a handful of removal spells here. Ultimate Price, Devour Flesh, Bile Blight is before, and Hero's Downfall, just basically the gold standard,
Yep.
even though it is monocolored. And then we have Underworld Connections, which is still awesome. A Singleton Ratchet Bomb as a way to take care of like some detention spheres, or for those not very nice people that will play multiple Burning Tree Emissaries in one turn against you. Ratchet Bomb's pretty good against that too.
I'm a little disappointed about what you just said. Not very nice was a little too nice of a way to describe Burning Tree Emissary players.
BBD loves Burning Tree Emissary. And then we have Elspeth, which is, in my opinion, well, besides Sphinx's Revelation, just the best finisher in Standard.
Yep.
Looking at the lands, it's a little bit unique. We do have the Mutavaults, obviously, to go along with our pack rats, like the previous Black Devotion decks. But we have a couple of Hollowed Fountain, which is something that I believe it was Brennan DeCandio was playing some Hollowed Fountains in his deck. When he just took the black-white mid-range and added Night Veil Spectre. This allows us to still have our white count for our Alms Beast, our Blood Baron, and our Elspeths,
right,
but also still be able to cast Night Veil Spectre, which is very important.
It's it's like another, white, almost a white-black duel in terms of casting Spectre and white cards, yeah.
Yep. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that this deck actually, a little bit different from all of the other black-white mid-range decks, is it only has 25 lands in it. A lot of these decks will play 26, similar to what the Mono Black Devotion decks do, because when you have Underworld Connections as one of your game plans, as well as Pack Rat, you're wanting to basically just play a land almost every turn for the rest of the game, because you have four lands that aren't really lands that can act as spells. You have Pack Rat that turns all your extra lands into spells. So these decks are very, very mana hungry. And I almost have a feeling that we're going to notice the lack of having the extra land when we play these games. I think that 25 is definitely one too few.
Yeah, I would go so far to say if you play less than 26 lands in a deck like this, you're an actual madman. Like
an actual madman.
An actual madman has been thrown out there. Yeah, it's been called out. So.
Well, it did get 6th place in the Open, so sometimes you have to be a little mad to place in the Standard Open.
Maybe if he played 26 lands, he would have gotten 5th place.
Ooh, that's true.
Yep.
That's
His
true.
tiebreakers would have improved. So
he could have. So this is the main deck. Let's go ahead and take a look at the sideboard and see what options we have. All right, here we are with the sideboard for the Orzhov Midrange deck. We have some more removal spells to try and flesh out what we have in the main deck with a Bile Blight, an Ultimate Price, and a Doomblade. We do have 3 Dark Betrayal, which is very good at killing opposing pack rats, as well as being able to take care of Night Veil Spectre. And it also kills Obsidat, which is starting to see a little bit more play, thankfully.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. Not today, since I have to play against it, but I'm glad to see the Obsidaddy, the
Old Ghost
Ob's
Council.
father. Yeah.
We do have 3 Lifebane Zombie, and I honestly feel like this card is main deck worthy right now.
Yep.
Lifebane Zombie is very good. Everybody wants to play their Brimaz. Everybody wants to play these Archangels. Everybody wants to play all these cool, fancy new Planeswalkers.
Play these Last Breaths.
Last Breaths, these 3-mana 2/4s that can just block your 3-power guys all day. And I think Lifebane Zombie is just very good right now. We do have 3 Duress, which is good against the Sphinx's Revelation decks. Again, 2 Obsidat, which is also good against the Sphinx's Revelation decks. And then a Revoke Existence as a way to take care of Underworld Connections, Erebos, Detention Sphere. Basically the same reasons that the Bant deck would play Revoke Existence. We also have it here in the sideboard of the Orzhov Midrange deck.
Now let me ask you a question. What do you think about the decision to play Duress over Sin Collector?
Over Sin Collector, I think that I would want to have both, actually. I think that Sphinx's Revelation is such a powerful strategy and popular strategy right now that you want to have as many good cards against that strategy as you possibly can post-board. So I definitely could see something along the lines of like 3 Sin Collector, 2 Duress, or even 3 and 3. But I do think Sin Collector is very good. Along the same lines as Lifebane Zombie, it's going to give us information, interrupt their game plan, and give us a way to pressure their Planeswalkers.
Yep, I actually tend to agree completely.
So this is the sideboard for the Orzhov Midrange deck. Hopefully we can resolve some Obsidats and not lose to Massive Sphinx's Revelations today.